Who's ready for a team up? Hello everyone, welcome to my review of the Avengers. And before we get this review fully started, I would like to say two things. Number one, I forgot to talk about this in the other reviews as well, but some of these movies, I don't remember if it's all of them, well, every outside of the Universal one, has like the Paramount logo. I noticed that at the beginning of this movie, the fact that there was a Paramount logo, and it's like, wait a minute, that feels a bit weird. But that was because Phase 1 was kind of like, who wants to help us make these movies, basically. And also, I watched this on Blu-ray, and it was full screen, which was kind of weird. I'm just gonna be honest there, like, normally these movies have, like, you know, kind of like movie stuff, but now we have full screen. But let's really talk about the movies, because everything has been leading to this, boys. We have Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, and Thor teaming up from the previous movies outside of Hulk, but we'll get to that one when we get to him. So let's start off with Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. He's so good. The way that he bounces off of the other characters while still being Tony Stark is fantastic. Then we have Chris Evans as Captain America, who is a man out of time. And I like how they play into that one, especially that, like, I understood that reference. Where it's like, yeah, okay, look, Captain America, he's a soldier, but he's also from, like, way back when. So, everything like this will, a flying ship will very much impress Captain America. And then we have Thor, played by Chris Hemsworth, with his Shakespearean stuff. And, you know, the way that he bounces off all the characters is great. Scarlett Johansson is back as Black Widow as well from Iron Man 2. And I love the way, like, these characters just like interact with each other. But let's talk about some new stuff. Starting, of course, with Mark Ruffalo replacing Edward Norton as the Incredible Hulk. And I said in the Incredible Hulk review, where I was a bit more critical of Mark Ruffalo, I said that Edward Norton is better. And I do personally believe that Edward Norton is a better Hulk. However, when I was talking about that, I was more so referring to current Hulk. You know, from Endgame and She-Hulk. That Hulk, which is garbage. And I hate it. Mark Ruffalo actually portrays Bruce Banner and his pain in this movie really well. And I completely forgot that because of the modern take on the Hulk, which I absolutely despise. So Mark Ruffalo was another fantastic casting. However, I will say that I like Edward Norton as Hulk better. Then we have, well, this is not really a new addition because this actor played this character in another movie. But I made a joke during the reviews where I was just like, hey, Hawkeye, because that's basically his appearance in Thor. It's just, hey, Hawkeye, and that's it. But we have Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye, and he is mind-controlled for most of this movie. I will say that right now. I mean, it happens at the beginning of the movie, so it's not really that big of a spoiler. But he's basically mind-controlled for most of the movie, and he is also the weak link in this movie. If I had to complain about this movie, because I don't really have any complaints outside of that, it's just the fact that he's mind-controlled, so he gets a lot less interaction with the other Avengers. But don't worry about it, he'll get his time to shine in the next Avengers movie. So let's talk about someone else who is new, who isn't part of the Avengers, but she's in the movie, and that is, we have Kobe Smulders as Maria Hill, and she's great. She's great too, and like I said, I want to see a casting here that I actually do not like. But early on in the MCU, we don't really get much of that. I mean, I talked about that in Captain Marvel, where I just didn't, but even then, the casting wasn't the problem, it's the writing. So, and that's the best friend, not to Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. Which is actually funny, because I will talk about that right now, just so that I don't forget to talk about it in one of these two things. But there's like a blonde woman in this movie, and I remember that people were thinking maybe she's Captain Marvel. What a time that was. But that was when like Phase 3 started and was announced that Captain Marvel was going to get a movie. People were like, oh, they could, and I think it was also announced that Carol Danvers would be the main character. And people were like, oh, it could be that girl from Avengers, you know. She's blonde. She's woman. We can just grab her. But Maria Hill is absolutely fantastic. There's no way that they will absolutely ruin this character by giving her a horrible death that just doesn't necessarily amount to anything, and it will be in a show that people will skip. But that's not all for the returning characters, because we have our main villain, Loki, and my goodness, he is way better in this movie than he was in Thor, and he was fantastic in Thor, so he's even better. Tom Hiddleston does once again a fantastic job at portraying Loki. The man is just charming on screen, okay? I mean, he is a sad character, as you saw in Thor, but also, he works. No, he's just great. Wanted to say that. Then also we have Agent Phil Coulson back, who is once again in this Phil Coulson stuff. Well, Son of Cole is always great, to be honest, and he is fanboying over Captain America, and I did enjoy that part as well. We also have Nick Fury back, Samuel L. Jackson back as Nick Fury, once again doing a phenomenal job. I can't really say anything bad about this movie, to be honest, outside of the fact that Hawkeye gets shafted in this movie. But I think they did that. Josh Whedon is the director, by the way, directed by Josh Whedon. I think he did that so that, you know, you have like a character like that, so that he can add stakes. I think, I don't know how Josh Whedon's mind works. By the way, to anyone who hates Josh Whedon, put that aside. That has nothing to do with this movie. This movie, like, if before all the stuff that came out about Josh Whedon came out, you thought that this movie was fantastic. Now that all the stuff about Josh Whedon has come out, you're like, this movie is garbage. No, this is still a fantastic movie. It's just Josh Whedon has had some trouble with a certain DC Studios. But man, I love this movie because I love the clashing of personalities that we have here. Like I said before, we have the sarcastic Iron Man, the Shakespearean Thor, we have the soldier Captain America, we have the very cautious, because otherwise Hulk comes out, Bruce Banner, and then we have the spy Romanoff, and eventually we get Hawkeye as well, who doesn't really get to interact much. He's just basically immediately on the team, and that is what makes this movie so fantastic. And also the fact that we had build up to this movie, because this movie would not have hit as hard if it wasn't for the other movies setting it up. And man, that CGI still holds up today. Now, not everything. There are certain times when they CGI in the human characters, and it looks a bit wonky. I'm not gonna lie, it looks a bit wonky. I noticed it on this viewing. Beforehand, I didn't notice it, but now I noticed it, where it's like, ooh, not perfect, but it's like a 9 out of 10. It's still good, okay? But I just wanted to say that because nowadays, the CGI is, the CGI kind of is bad. So, what happened to Marvel? This was back in 2012. This was like 13 years ago. 13 years ago we had the Avengers, dude. I was in theaters for this movie. I think this might be my first ever MCU movie that I watched, or it's the first MCU movie that I watched in theaters. As a kid, sitting there, watching the big screen, watching all these heroes team up together. It was, mwah, it was so good. But like I said, the one downside is Hawkeye being pushed into the back, because of the fact that, I don't know, because I guess stakes. But I love this movie outside of... Also, to anyone who watches Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you may have noticed a little fellow that appeared there. Gideon Malik from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3, the villain from that season. Yeah, he is one of the councilmen in this movie. I just wanted to mention that as well. I saw him and I was like, hey, it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Which, to anyone wondering, because we are right now heading towards Final Verdict, so... I will say this, to anyone wondering, I will not review Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Cloak and Dagger, Runaways, or Inhumans. Those are not gonna get reviews from me. Not in this MCU review saga. Because those shows have yet to officially be confirmed as connected to the MCU. I mean, with Agent Carter, we had the fact that the actor who portrays Jarvis returns in Endgame in order to portray Jarvis. So... there is some connectivity there, and also Agent Carter is in it, and it takes place outside of the main timeline of the MCU, so it works. And with Echo, we have the confirmation that the Kingpin and Daredevil that we see in the MCU are a continuation from the Netflix stuff, and that connected to Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and also the Defenders and Punisher. And Punisher and Daredevil will be back as confirmed in Daredevil Born Again. So the Defenders saga, the Netflix stuff, is connected. The actor who portrays Chief Sousa appears in this movie, and I will personally, because I'm me, I will see that as continuity, and I will see that guy, who apparently is named Saunders, as an offspring. Like either like a child or a grandchild of Chief Sousa. So, I just wanted to make a little mention of that one, okay? Because I saw that act, I was like, it's Chief Sousa! Wait a minute, that doesn't really work. So, I'm just gonna say it's his offspring. So, let's just move straight into Final Verdict after that. So, my final verdict for The Avengers is, and let's be honest here, couldn't be anything other than a beautiful 10 out of 10! How could I not give this movie a 10 out of 10? It is almost perfect. If Hawkeye was better developed, it would have been so perfect. But that is the only downside, but it isn't a downside enough for me to give it like a 9 out of 10. I'll give it a 10 out of 10 easily. So, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys thought of The Avengers. And with that being said, I do hope you guys have enjoyed. And also, thank you all so very much for watching. And if you did enjoy this video, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new or have not done so already. Turn on notifications and then don't forget to check out my Let's Play channel. Link to the description and at the end of the video. And that's it. We're done. Phase 1 is officially over of the MCU. I will see you guys for the start of Phase 2 with Iron Man 3. Bye!